Hey guys, welcome to Jamie's Corner. So sorry I've been MIA for the past like 2 weeks. I've just had a lot of midterms. It was just like getting really crazy, and also I've just been really lazy. But today I'm going to be talking about something that's really important, so hopefully you guys will watch it all the way through, or if not, like feel free to just like skip different parts because I will be labeling what I'm going to be talking about. But today I just wanted to give you guys some college application advice. It must be a super scary time for you guys since it's like middle of October or beginning of November now, and like you guys probably have apps due in December or just in later on January. On a side note, my friend and I did henna the other day and it was like super pretty, and look, it's so flowery. I wish I could do this on my own, but I can't. Oh my gosh, I'm like so not artistic. When I was first peeling them off, they looked like little scabs, and I was like, oh, this kind of looks like mini poops, mini turds. Yeah. I'm also going to be talking a lot about essay tips, senior advice, and just how to get into top college. So let's get started with essay tips. So first of all, you should start early. Ideally, it would be best for you guys to start over the summer, which just kind of passed, so you're out of luck. No, I'm just kidding. But a great piece of advice that I heard from someone else was that when you're writing your college essays, it's like a time for you to kind of show off what you've done in your high school career. It's not asking you to do any more, it's just asking you to just kind of like prove yourself. And so since you've already done the hard part, all you have to do is just like do the application itself, and I just want you to succeed and to just do it as soon as possible. It'd be great if you guys could start during the summer, like whether it's just like brainstorming. It really helps. Just like write out lists of things that you might want to talk about and then like come back to it, whether it's like late August or early September. That way you have something to think about, so you're not just kind of like panicking at the last moment. This is probably one of the most important essays of your life. So do not wait a week before it's due, because it's not something that you can pull off and just think, oh, if I like write super fast before the deadline, I'll be able to come up with like super great essay, because it like this essay takes a lot of time and takes a lot of thought, because it's basically writing a story about who you are, and you obviously can't explain your whole life or like a really important part of it in just like 3 hours before the deadline. And this next tip is super important, so make sure you don't miss their deadlines. I know the Common App like tells you kind of like all the dates that you have to submit your application by, and know that I think the Common App runs on Eastern time, so if the app says it's due at midnight, that means it's like 3 hours before midnight if you're on Pacific time. So just like know like exactly like when it's due, because colleges are not gonna wait for you, and like if you submit it like a minute late, they'll probably not even read your essay, and like that's just something you really don't want to happen, because it's probably like the most important time of your life. So just like submit it on time and know your deadline. And then this next tip's more for just like applying to college itself. So before you apply to college, make sure you do your research. If you don't know what you want to do, which is totally fine, a lot of students don't know what they want to do when they enter into college, just look for a college that has like everything that you could possibly be interested in. Do your research and know what each school offers, and also know whether it's like a private versus a public university. A private university often has smaller class sizes and they have more individualized attention, which I really like about USC. But public schools tend to have like kind of, I guess, bigger majors and just more majors, because there's just so many students there. But you do get less individualized attention because there's just so many people, and like there aren't enough resources to go around. So definitely like know whether you like private, public, or like liberal versus just I guess like a normal college. I don't know what they're called. Non-liberal, Republican? No. When you apply to colleges, make sure you apply to at least 3 reach schools, 3 backup schools or like safety schools, and 3 schools that you think you'll get into, because nowadays it's getting a lot harder to even get into a good college. So just like making sure that you always have a backup plan, a backup college that you will definitely get into will really like put the pressure off of you. Which brings me to my other point, you shouldn't really have like a dream school, I guess. It's like really hard for people like when they find out that they don't get into their dream school, and then they get crushed and they're like, oh, like now like I don't know what to do with my life because I didn't get into Princeton, I didn't get into Yale, or blah 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 blah. And like even though it's great for you to have goals, it's important for you guys to be realistic and know that like everyone who's applying to Princeton probably has a 4.0, not probably, definitely has like a 4.0. They've started their own club, they've like probably saved like children in Africa or something, and it's just like you're competing against the best of the best. So please don't be discouraged if you don't get into your dream school. Just know that like no matter what school you'll get into, like if you really try your best, I think you can make it your home. And a lot of the times, colleges nowadays have a lot of like supplemental applications. So like besides just writing the Common App, like you'll have to go on their website and make sure that you don't have to answer like separate questions. I think for UC Berkeley or UCLA, I don't think they even use the Common App, but they have their own set of questions. So make sure if you're applying to like a specific department, you answer all their questions so that you can even qualify to get into that department. This next tip is for actually writing your essay and like what to write. I know I had a lot of trouble coming up with ideas, but in order for you to come up with something that kind of like shows something that you're passionate about, you should look for things that you spend a lot of your time in. So like whether you spend a lot of your time, I don't know, like reading, like dancing or singing, or just doing any of your hobbies, just pick like a specific moment or just like a time in your life where it had a great impact on you, meaning you've changed your lifestyle, how you've kind of look at the world because of that instance or because of an object or a hobby. Like for example, if you really like reading, you can talk about how reading like opens up your worldview on everything and just kind of how it changes you as a person. But make sure when you're writing your essays, it's like about you and not about like the subject itself. And on the Common App, it'll probably ask you a lot of questions about all the different organizations that you're a part of. So make sure you list everything that's important and just kind of what you've done, what you've contributed, and also how it's helped you grow as a person. Don't just like list out what it is, but say why it's important to you. And another tip is have people proofread your essay again and again. No matter how many different times you think it's like perfect, just like give it to people who you trust have like good writing skills and have them proofread it, and then ask them like, okay, does this sound like your voice? Because you really want your essay to represent you and not anyone else. And if you're applying to the Common application, make sure that you write like maybe a solid essay and then tweak it a little bit for different colleges if like it fits within like what they're asking you to do. But don't like write like 10 essays and try to have different essays for different colleges, because that'll just be super draining. And like you should really focus on like 1 or 2 colleges and essays that you really want to delve into. So make sure you use a lot of adjectives that can paint a picture, but definitely don't go overboard and like have like 5 adjectives in front of one single noun and try to describe every single thing, because that's just gonna take a lot of words and time away from your essay. Okay, so this next tip's kind of overlooked when a lot of people apply to colleges. So when you do apply to college, for some colleges it like asks you which school you want to apply into. So for USC there was like Viterbi School of Engineering, or like Dornsife Arts and Letters, and just like a whole bunch of other schools. So if you kind of have an inkling of what you want to do, like engineering for instance, pick that option, because it'll be a lot easier for you to get into that school as a freshman, because you've done so many things in your high school career. But if you get into that school with like, I don't know, like a psychology major like in a different school, and you try to transfer into the engineering school, it's going to be a lot more difficult, because you're going to have to take a lot of prereqs to get into engineering, and then you have to apply again, and then it's going to be based on your college GPA instead of your freshman GPA. So it's basically like starting all over from scratch. So if you have an inkling of what you want to do, try to like go, I guess, for the harder school. Once you know you get into it, if you really don't like it, then you can switch out. But just know in the back of your mind that it'll be easier for you as a freshman to get in, I think, in my personal opinion. My next tip would be to get your letters of recommendation early on in the year. I remember I asked my teacher, my writing professor, you should also ask professors who you know can write really well, because it does make an impact on how the college admissions view your application. So I asked my math teacher, who I knew really well, and also my writing teacher, because he wrote so well. If you want a teacher from your junior year of high school or just any other year before senior year, you should just ask them like after you finish taking their class, because that's when they'll remember you the most and they'll be able to elaborate the most on what you've done in their classes. You should also ask your counselors to make sure that you get your transcripts sent in on time, because your counselors have a lot of transcripts to send out to colleges, and you want to make sure that you ask them to send it out as soon as they can so that they do not forget. And another good way to just kind of like see what colleges you want to go to is to go on like College Confidential and also like Niche. Is that how you say it? NICHE. Because there are a lot of like student commentaries that you can look up. I will provide those links down below so you can go ahead and look at what other people say, so that you can get like a good sense of what the college is about and just like what the vibe is. And then this tip is for juniors and seniors. Make sure you study well for your AP test. After you apply to college, it may seem like, oh, like I don't need to worry about anything anymore, but you should definitely study well for your AP test, even if you don't do well in the class, because doing well on those AP tests will save you a lot of money and a lot of time. That's really important, because that means you don't have to like retake calculus, you don't have to like retake, I don't know, like a physics course or like a science course, and that in the end will give you so much more freedom, because taking calc and just like physics, for example, in college is a lot harder than in high school, because you definitely don't get as much individualized attention. So just like try to knock all of those prereqs out of the way, so when you do come here you can just like take classes that you're actually interested in, or just like classes that relates to your major instead of just like prereqs. And you should definitely apply to scholarships. I'm going to provide a link to a bunch of scholarships, and you should apply to like a lot of them, even if they're like little amounts, because those $500 do add up to a lot of money. So if you apply to like, I don't know, like 10, I'm sure you'll at least get like 1 or 2. It's just all about like being consistent and just applying to as many scholarships as you can, because it will save you a lot of money in the long term. And last but not least, you should definitely enjoy your senior year and your senior summer. That's probably like the most free summer you'll ever get, because you don't have to worry about like doing reading assignments for the next school year, and you don't have to worry about like doing anything for college. It's just like where you can just like spend time to yourself, figure out what you want to do, like figure out your hobbies, spend time with friends. Just like don't stress out about it, enjoy it, because it's like it should be a fun way to, you know, get out of high school and just celebrate you being done for 4 years, and just kind of knowing that you've made all this progress, and now it's ultimately leading you to go into college, which hopefully is something you really wanted to do. Okay guys, so that is it for all of my advice for applying to college. I really hope that it helped you in your quest into higher education, and that it will make your college application process a little bit easier. If you have any more questions or just like concerns or comments or tips of your own, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to read them, because I read all of you guys' comments. They're so cute sometimes. I'll probably do another video on just kind of how to prepare yourself for college while you're in high school at a separate time, because I feel like the college application process is like something that needs to be done on its own, because it's such a long process. So if you guys have more questions on what kind of AP classes you should take, or like different kinds of clubs that you should join, just like put them down in the comment section and I'll answer them in the next video. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye!